Они вот все вместе жили. Потом Сонечка уже не тоже здесь семьи. Ну понятно, у нас с тобой много, короче, друзей, да? Ася наша они же не ну понятно, что раз.
Are we good? Okay. So, someone needs to press the button. Now it's pressed. The press is still blinking. So it stays pressed. I think we need your expertise here with the button. Are we recording?
No.
On the camera? Good. Okay. So.
It's done.
Stop.
For you. It's done.
Okay. So here is the problem, simply put. Are we missing some people? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. here, and I used to apologize for showing fascist propaganda, but that was then. I don't feel the need to apologize anymore. What I want you to think about while looking, we just look at few little points, little moments in film. Now, obviously, maybe not obviously, this is the famous Triumph of the Will, the propaganda film by the German filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl, who was a great filmmaker and also a personal friend of Adolf Hitler and his personal filmmaker. She made two very famous films for Hitler. One is this, about the Congress of the German National Socialist Party in Nuremberg in 1934, and the other one, Olympia, about the Olympics in Munich. And that was 36, yeah. Until today, everything you see filmed in the Olympics is based on the way she filmed the Olympics. She really figured it out. You know, how do you film a jump? How do you film a run? She created the language, and I don't think anyone did it better since. She also created the language of the documentary film. And just as it is a scandal for philosophers that the greatest philosopher of the 20th century also happens to be a Nazi, it is equally a scandal for art or photography, if you like, that the greatest photographer, or one of the greatest photographers and filmmakers, also happens to be, whether Nazi or not, at least a propaganda maker for Hitler. Yeah. Now, so kind of that's sort of interesting. As we're going to see bits from this film, I want you to somehow be tuned to first the way it sends out a very specific message about the Führer, about the party, about the relationship between the ruler and the people, but also, importantly, the aesthetics of it, the visual power. This film is until, I think until the present, is considered one of the most powerful items of fascist propaganda, because it's such a good film. It is really made in an amazing way. And I want you to just get a sense of it, then we will move back to Foucault, and I think you will get a better sense of what is at stake. But bear in mind also what Heidegger was telling us about technology. Now, think about the way, what happens when the process of making is removed completely from the image. It might be that what you end up with is a kind of form of propaganda. So let's have a look at this. If you wanted to learn how to film or how to shoot or what makes a great frame, there is really no better textbook to teach you how to make a great image. Here, it's all here. Do you see that? The one and the many. It's all the time working on this. The single person, the father figure, the authority, and everyone, the multitude, the individual and the mass. And this juxtaposition is very important. If you're going to make propaganda, that's how you make it. It sends shivers down your spine, no? This is really scary stuff. Now, I wanted to show you the other section of the soldiers. This is very important. This sequence, the next one, is soldiers getting ready to meet the Führer. So you see, that is why what Heidegger is saying about technology is so important, and why what Foucault is trying to do is to keep Heidegger's insight about the dangers of technology, or this alienating moment, this moment of detachment, and how, you know, if you sterilize the image and remove all traces of the process, how you might end up with something like that. But of course, in Heidegger's world, that was the answer, not the problem. For Heidegger, it is precisely, especially around this time, in 1934, Heidegger thought that the National Socialism movement in Germany would actually rescue Europe from a greater danger that was Americanization. Everything seems to come around. As Marx famously said in the thesis on, not in thesis of Feuerbach, in the 18th Brugiere of Napoleon Bonaparte. He said, history repeats itself twice. First as a tragedy, and second time as farce. And you will see that being mulled over in the next few days, several times, I'm sure. Okay. So I want you to somehow understand that what you are seeing here, why is it so seductive? This choral music, you know, this sort of cheerful, upbeat tune. Everybody's together, you know, everybody's one happy family. You know, there is a joy in being in such a close-knit community. Everyone is similar. Everyone has the same skin color. Everyone, you feel that you are so protected, you know. You want to join them. You want to be part of something so cheerful, supportive, connected. Intercut with these laughing faces.
Contextualizes this from your weapon.
And this is actually, that's called dialectical montage. It's something that the Russian propaganda directors like Eisenstein developed and mastered. Yeah? Because the fighting then appears as friendly. It, you know, you laugh. It's funny. It's a game. Nothing to worry about. Now you see how powerful an image can be. I mean, and you need to learn how to harness this power. You know, the power is there. What you do with it is the question. And if you follow Heidegger to the letter, he will say, well, you do that. At least in 1934, he will say. But if we look to Foucault, he will say, yes, you need to learn these tools, you need to harness this power, but you need to be very careful with what you do with it. You get the idea that it's worth watching this whole thing, perhaps. I also wanted to show you briefly this piece from Louis C.K. Do you know Louis C.K.? Yes. Yeah. Where he talks about Schindler's List, because that's how I wanted to try. Anyone heard this piece about Schindler's List? Because I wanted to get a sense of how he also talks here about making movies and about technology. Anyone here watched Schindler's List?
Yeah.
Yes, you did? Yeah. So you know? Yeah. Okay. Now, is Schindler's List and Triumph of the Will are similar films? Yes.
All the way through watching Triumph of the Will, those tapes, I kept thinking Spielberg.
Yeah.
And he's obviously influenced by that. Because you're watching Indiana Jones, it's just
everyone was influenced by Leni Riefenstahl. She really is one of the most groundbreaking filmmakers. And there is actually a very good film about her. I think our student, didn't you watch it last year? Didn't you? Oh no. But there is a film about Leni Riefenstahl that was filmed when she was about 90. Because she lived until 10, 15 years ago. Fascinating. She really is a fascinating character. Anyway, let's figure out Louis C.K. and then go back to the text.
You wanted me back, man. This is what I got. So I was watching Schindler's List today. You wanted me back, man. This is what I got.
Okay, can you just wait a second? That's simple.
I was watching Schindler's List. It's funny. So I was watching Schindler's List today. So I was watching
Yeah, that's the one.
I was watching Schindler's List. It's funny because Schindler's List, when it came out, was this moment, you know, it was a document and everybody talked about it. Now it's just on. It's just on TBS, and you can just flip on by.
Are we going to find the one where you can actually see him?
I think it's part of a bigger stand-up, which is like 2 hours long, so I wouldn't know which bit of the stand-up it is.
The Jews and all that, okay, and then they flip this way and you see Dudley Moore and Kirk Cameron switch bodies, and that way is Hitler and the Jews and all that. It's just, I was watching Schindler's List and there was a scene that really, I forgot about the scene, and there I saw it. There's a scene where all the Jews are being let out of Warsaw, they're being forced out of Warsaw, they got all their belongings on this road, and all the people that aren't Jews are watching them leave in nice clothing. It's horrible. And there's a little girl in this scene, and she's standing on a mailbox. She's about 8 years old, and she's in a pretty dress. You remember this scene? And she's watching them. She's going, "Goodbye, Jews! Goodbye, Jews!" And this really struck me, and probably the Jews too, that it happened to, because I think it must be real. There must have been that girl, and when they researched the movie, somebody told Spielberg that story, and he was like, "We're fucking doing that." That's amazing. And because I know how movies are made, I know that they had to go and find an 8-year-old girl who could nail that shit. So somewhere there's a tape of like 50 little girls trying to get the "Goodbye, Jews" part. And they're all cute, of course. They're all little girl actors. There's no little girl actresses that are like Sean Penn, I just do my thing, you know. They're going from the Hannah Montana audition to the "Goodbye, Jews." Taking their turn. "Hi, my name's Dorothy, I'm with William Morris." "All right, Dorothy, go ahead." "Goodbye, Jews." "Goodbye, Jews." Dorothy, you're angry at it. "Oh, okay. Goodbye, Jews." "Goodbye, Jews." Okay, thank you, Dorothy. Next. Okay, thank you very much. Next. And then comes the girl whose mother prepared her for the, "Hi, my name is Angeline, and I'm at CAA, and I'm really happy to meet you. The sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow." Actually, we just need the line. "Oh, I'm sorry. Goodbye, Jews! Goodbye, Jews!" I'll tell you the story about.
So why am I showing you this? Not because I'm in a funny mood today. Because what Louis C.K. is talking here about somehow allows us to understand that there is such thing as a representation of fascism. The representation of fascism is what Triumph of the Will does. Yeah? It represents well, it really represents fascism. It really represents the Congress of the fascist National Socialist Party. And then there is Schindler's List film, which is about the horrors of Nazism, of the same regime. Yeah, it's about the concentration camps, it's about the extermination of the Jews, it's about the horrors of this fascism. But by turning towards Louis C.K., and he just takes this 1-2 second moment from the film, this girl shouting in the film, "Goodbye Jews," and he deconstructs how it was made. And he talks about this tape they have, these 50 takes by different girls until you get it just right. And you realize then that Schindler's List is also a representation of fascism. But you also realize that it is also the fascism of representation. That what makes Triumph of the Will work so well is that the way something is being represented is itself a fascist, a violent, a political act. Representation is not outside of the story, it is the story. Yeah? And it's good, it's easy to sort of turn to Schindler's List and see it as a kind of condemnation of, let's say, fascism or populism. And yet, through Louis C.K.'s insight, we might say it is still deeply problematic. It is still dealing with representation in exactly the same way as Triumph of the Will. Yeah? The method by which the story is told in Spielberg and Riefenstahl is the same method. In this method, the process is being stripped away and removed, and all you get is this shiny, perfect image. Yeah. Now, how could it be otherwise? How could we make a film